Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Professional Solutions Publications, and it's a book which will be of direct interest to expert witnesses. It's called Clinical Practice and the Law, this book here. It's got a subtitle, A Legal Primer for Clinicians, and it's been written by Giles Eyre. Elizabeth was the lead writer on this particular review, and the title we've given the review is An Essential Guide to Medicine and the Law. Let's just have a look at the book very quickly. There it is. It's a paperback. There's the spine. It's a very small paperback. There's the back of it there. It runs to something approaching... how many pages? Let's have a look. 140 pages. There's a very short index at the back by page numbering. You should be able to find what you're looking for quite easily in the index, which is actually listed there. Then there is in fact a short bibliography, further reading, and then after that you've got various parts of the chapters. If I go to the front, you'll see out of the 15 chapters, we'll get to those in a minute. That's actually the front page there of the book. Then you've got the blurb. Then after that you've got the basic information about both the author and Professional Solutions Publications. It's a learning and development organisation. Then quite a lot of acknowledgements. Then you've got details about other books in the series which we've also reviewed. This one's actually writing reports, and that's writing reports for medico-legal reports in civil claims. Then you've got the contents section by chapters. And the final chapter is chapter 15. There are 15 in total. Then, of course, there's a very interesting foreword, well worth reading, by James Badenoch, Queen's Counsel. And in fact, other people have also contributed comments about the book. Then there's a note from Giles about the purpose of the book itself. And that's dated September 2018. Then we get into the book itself. It starts off medicine and the law. Then it goes straight into the various chapters, and you can see with chapter 2 you've got a mini index for what's in the chapter itself, and then as you can see there is some paragraph numbering throughout, and that's the way it runs all the way through the book. So about 140 pages worth in total. Now, what do we say about the book? It's a short review, this one. We say that this book occupies that often fraught and uncertain territory where law and medicine meet. As the subtitle indicates, it's a legal primer for clinicians, yet interestingly, it could work the other way round. Yes, it explains lawyers to clinicians, but it is unarguable that it also does a very good job of explaining clinicians to us lawyers. As the publishers point out, it addresses the fundamentals of how the law, lawyers, and the legal system affect clinical practice, and I think it's very important, certainly in the 21st century as we approach 2020 and we see changes taking place concerning litigation, and the fact that many of these matters will be mediated first, that therefore we need to know the interface between both clinicians and lawyers. So it's terse, logical and to the point, so the book itself offers, we think, useful guidance to legal practitioners involved with, for example, personal injury or medical negligence claims, for which the National Health Service, of course, has rather worryingly allocated a famously large budget. And as I've indicated, quite a large number within the NHS now are mediated first, and we will be looking at probably compulsory mediation from April 2020 onwards. I'm not quite sure whether that will come in full force, but certainly that's the direction we're going in. So therefore the NHS are looking for mediating a lot of the claims. Not all of them, of course, can be. Now, the author of this book, this paperback, is Giles Eyre, and he's a barrister himself, although appointed recorder. He shares the experience he's gained throughout his career in conducting and advising in PI matters, personal injury matters, industrial disease and clinical negligence claims. And as a recorder, of course, he sits in his judicial capacity. And by way of introduction, the author offers the insightful comment that, quote, all healthcare professionals operate within a legal context in much the same way that all lawyers live within a medical context, and probably within a similar degree of understanding or misunderstanding of the relevant principles. So basically what he's trying to do is to give those people who need it that extra bit of information, because you really do need to have as much preparation as you can whenever you have some form of main sort of conflict. And it is this misunderstanding we've just referred to, and yes, ignorance, says James Badenoch, Queen's Counsel, in the foreword, quote, which this book sets out to dispel, and certainly does. As a working text, he adds, the book covers such crucial matters as the legal versus the scientific approach to evidence and to proof, negligence and how it's defined, the consequences of medical crime, an important one, the principles of patient consent and confidentiality, the duty of candour, whistleblowing, record keeping, and expert witness work. And as I've indicated, I think the EWI will be very interested in this. Of course, there's more, because this book offers a lot. It's not an expensive book, and I think it's something every expert should have. The book's 15 informative chapters cover such topics as the following: a lawyer's mind, the court system, patients in custody, when things go wrong, and much more besides. All of those are very important questions which I think the expert really needs to have some understanding of. And of course it also includes a brief look at providing expert evidence in court for other hearings, and that I think will be invaluable for experts who actually have to physically turn up. As in most or all good legal texts, the book includes a detailed table of contents and an index. And there's a table, I mentioned of course that the index is quite short, but it is there, it's very helpful. There's also a table of contents too at the beginning of each chapter, which I think does help you find things quite quickly. And there's a concluding statement at the end. Plus, for those seeking further information, you've got a wealth of research resources and the further reading list at the back. This is a book, says James Badenoch, that will be welcomed by lawyers in the field for their own use, but above all it vitally fills a gap for clinicians, and we fully support that. And I do mention that it's a work that all members of the Expert Witness Institute should actually have in their law library. And the publication date of this paperback is cited as at the 26th of October 2018. Let's just have one last look at it. Paperback, as I see, there we go. There is the spine, there's the back. You probably can't see that very well from the picture, but there's a lot of detail. Just opening it in the middle. This is Chapter 8, Records and Making Notes. Chapter 8. You can see the paragraph numbering at the sides. There isn't any footnoting actually on that particular page. In fact, there's very little, just at the bottom there. There is quite a lot of footnoting on some of the pages, which will be useful. And as I've indicated right at the back, there is in fact the useful statement about various further reading, which you may need to look at if depending on what you want. And in addition to that, of course, you do have very useful links to websites. So a big thank you to Giles and everybody connected with this book. It's well worth getting, and we were delighted to be asked to review it. Thank you. Bye bye.